On numbers 14 through 16, we're supposed to solve the problem. Number 14 says if z is at 3, -4, we're supposed to find z prime prime after it's first been rotated 180 and then vertically stretched. So let's start with z. It's at 3, -4. To go to z prime, we want to rotate it 180 degrees. 180 degrees, find the opposite of both. So the opposite of 3 is -3. Opposite of -4 is 4. Then we're going to do it again. This time we're going to look for z prime prime, and we're going to use this information here. Now we're supposed to vertically stretch it. To vertically stretch, that means the y is being affected, so it means we're going to multiply the y times something. So the x is going to stay the same, but then we're going to do 4 times the scale factor here of 5, which is 20. And that right there would be my final answer. On number 15, it says if r prime is 0, 5, then we're trying to find r if we're using the following rule. Well, let's look carefully. What happened here in this rule is we started with x and y, and then we flipped positions and we negated. That means we reflected it over the line y equals -x. So to put it back, we just need to do the opposite of both x and y and flip them back. So if you take your r prime, we're going to do the opposite of both 0 and 5, so that's still going to be 0, but the other one's going to be -5. And then we also need to flop it. So this, when we flop it, we're going to actually change it position. 5 becomes -5 and 0. So that right there, and actually technically, this is what leads to your r prime. So this right here is your r, and we're going to double check it here in just a second. And this was your r prime. Let's see. If we use this rule, if we flip both of these and do their opposite, does it give us this? This will give me +5, 0, flip it, there it is, 0, 5. So this right here is your correct answer. On number 16, it says we're going to reflect j, which is 3, 1. Then we're going to dilate it with the center, and then we're going to rotate it. So we're looking for j prime prime. So first thing we do when we reflect it over y equals x is the x and the y here switch. So j prime is now going to be at 1, 3. Then we're going to dilate it by 3, but the center has moved. So let's just look at this in terms of a graph. Anytime I see that the dilation or a rotation is not around the origin, I generally like to graph it. So here is 1, 2, and we're going to put a point there. So if I need to move this particular center, I would have to go left 1 and down 2. So let's look at where j is at. With j, it's being right here. We're going to go left 1 and down 2. So we're really going to work with a j that is at the point 0, 1. And so now we're ready to dilate it by 3. So when we dilate it by 3, that's going to be 0 times 3 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. And then we got to put it back. Remember before we went to the left 1 and then we went down 2? Well, now we need to put it back. So now we're going to go right 1 and up 2. So take your 0, 3, which is right here. We're going to go right 1 and up 2 puts it at 1, 5. So j prime prime is at 1, 5. The last thing we're going to do is rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. 90 degrees, find the opposite of y, and then switch the x and the y. So the opposite of this 5 would be -5, and we're going to switch places here. So this will be our j prime prime prime.